Hey guys, we are back and we have with us today a man from Kansas, Raymond Gonnet, with Competitive Edge Genetics there in Lawrence, Kansas. Raymond, how we doing?
Doing good, Corey. Appreciate you for having me on.
Hey, you bet, you bet. For those, a lot of people know you. For those of you that don't, tell us a little bit about your background and upbringing, and kind of what brought you into what you're doing here today.
Oh, that's a little bit of a story, I guess. I grew up in Alberta, Canada, and grew up showing cattle there. My parents have a feedlot and I don't know, a couple thousand acres of crop ground, and so they were kind of more on the commercial side of things. But I started showing when I was 9, and it slowly evolved from picking steers out of the feed yard to finding club calf sired stuff, and got me kind of hooked on that. And once I got done with school and showing in 4-H, I started to buy a lot of females with my dad, and we ended up started a herd of our own and kind of selling club calves up there. And it just kind of finally evolved to where I was selling some stuff into the US and then tapping into that market. And I made a decision to kind of follow the dream, so to speak. And I sold the cow herd and left home and moved to Iowa. And I started working for a club calf operation in Iowa at the time was Troush Farms, and they had some promotional bulls as well. And I started working there and kind of gradually leveled up and started Competitive Edge Genetics with some investors. And it's kind of the rest is history from there. Now we're in Kansas at a location just outside Lawrence is where we're located now, which is about 30 minutes west of Kansas City. And we still play in the bull promotion game some, and we'll sell anywhere from 50 to 75 any given year of steers and heifers in the fall. So
You bet. I bet you I'm one of the few people that have ventured to Canada, and I've had coffee at your mom and dad's place up there before.
you would be one of maybe 3 or 4 Americans that ever were in the livestock business that actually made it all the way up there to see my stock. And actually
That's
that was when you were with Bushy Park.
Yeah, that's probably 15 years ago at least. And but I tell you what, even back then, for a small main breeder in Canada, the few cows you had, they were good.
Yeah, you bought like 3/4 of my herd.
Yeah, yeah. Comfort Zone, the main bull Comfort Zone's mother was a cow that you had up there, and yeah, it was a nice cow.
I think when you bought that cow that raised Comfort Zone, I think you bought the whole cow family because you're like, well, we'll just
Yeah. Yeah, the mother, daughter, and the grandmother. I bought the whole 902R pedigree. That's a hell of a cow herd.
Nope.
Yeah, but boy, from those humble upbringings there in Canada, and like you said, level up. I think that's what we're all trying to do every day is level up. You hit a whole new level this year in terms of your competition at state fairs.
Yeah, we've been very blessed. Over the last couple of years, we've had some success. I don't know that I've ever had a summer like this. It just seemed like the stars kept aligning and things just kept happening. You know, every time you go to a really competitive show, whether it's a jackpot or a state fair or a national show, in my position as someone that sells the livestock to these families and you want to compete and you want them to have success. I mean, I can't deny that every time I go to a show, I'm hoping that I'm going to have a win of some sort. I mean, that's why we go to compete and go to try to win. Right. And, it's not very often that you can go to that many of them big ones like that and go, man, I hope I get a piece of it. And by God, you got a piece of it. And then you just keep going and you keep going and you keep getting a piece of it. It was just like one after another. And I guess I've got a lot of things to be thankful for there, but obviously the good Lord, but the customers and some of the families we've gotten to work with and meet, they worked their tail off and their hard work actually paid off this summer. And it's awesome to see that, that look on that kid's face when he gets the slap. I mean, that's what keeps us going. So
Yeah. We're gonna dive into a few of them winners here in a little bit, but tell us a little bit about how you sell your cattle and marketing and stuff like that. When people can come by and look, and so on and so forth.
Well, we had originally, the first year I'd started Competitive Edge, we'd had an online sale and it was phenomenal. We sold the heck out of them to all different areas of the country. The reason I've now done everything private treaty, which is what we do now, uh, was that first online sale was great, but I had a lot of my actual core families that I dealt with that had been buying them from us for a couple of years. They didn't get a calf bought because Stephen, whatever his name might have been, from some other state, had more money that night on that calf that they were interested in. And I could have sold that calf to one of my good homes comfortably at what they could pay, but because it was open market to anybody else, they got outbid. And then I was left stranded trying to find those really good homes calves. And it was already October. And I'm like, man, it's getting late now. I got to try to find some stuff still in their price range. And so that was one of the reasons I went to private treaty was actually to be able to, if you're on my team, so to speak, and you're one of my homes that actively wants me to find their livestock, I want to be able to make sure that I can facilitate that and not have that lingering, well, you might get it, but you might not kind of a situation. If you come to our place to buy a show calf and you go out there and you like one and it fits your budget, you can buy it, load it on your trailer and take it home and it's over and done with. There's no wait till the sale and stay up till midnight and hope you get it. It's just a lot less stressful. That's one of the reasons I did it. Two is I feel like I get to build a lot more relationships with the customers in a private treaty setting. Um, Mainly because there's a lot less pressure. Not everything, is going to happen on one night. They can come look at the calf. If they need a couple days to think about it, I'll be open to, working with people. If, hey, I need a little time to figure things out, that's fine. I'll work with people that way. I don't want buying a calf to be so stressful that it just puts a bad taste in your mouth and you just don't even want to mess with it. I try to be accommodating, and that's the reason why we sell in private treaty. Was just the atmosphere is a little bit different and it just seems a little bit more inviting sometimes to families. So,
And you hit on something there, the team concept. Brian Fox and I talked about that 6 or 7 years ago. We seen the dynamics of this industry change, and it really has evolved into where you literally, if you're going to be competitive nowadays, you've got to pick a team. I mean, that's just all there is. Good, bad, or otherwise, it's just the way it is. You've got to get with a program such as yourself that services those customers, that provides you 2 or 3 extra guys to help fit them and get them ready. And it's just not like the good old days 30 years ago, where one guy with one can of glue and a scotch comb could bone their legs up and square them up a little bit with clippers and go.
yeah.
You've got to have a team. There's no doubt about it. Tell us a little bit about what you offer in terms of that regard, Raymond.
Well, I mean, I tell everybody that buys cattle here that obviously I'm one guy. I don't have a list of 7 or 8 guys that work for me. And I can't be at every show across the country because there's a lot of weekends where there's 3, 4, 5 shows going on at the same time.
Yeah.
But I will try to at least hit the highlights for a lot of people. And when I can't be there, I'm fairly tapped in with a lot of other people. We source a lot of cattle from a lot of places. And so sometimes some of the people that I might have purchased that calf from are capable of going to the show to help work on it and vice versa. I've got a lot of friends that are, available to me if I need them to help. We trade help at this show. You help my customers at this show and I'll help yours at this one over here, kind of a situation. And I always try to make sure everybody gets taken care of. And I know that sometimes with a lot of customers, when they purchase one from said person that, is the face of the company, they want that attention from that person. And I try to tell everybody, like, in a way, yeah, I want you to have that as well. But if I can't be there, just know that whoever I send is an extension of me. And I would trust them to do just as good of a job as what I can potentially do so that you're taken care of, because I take that very seriously. Anytime your calf enters the ring, if it's got my ear tag in its ear or people know that you bought it from me, I want that animal to be presented at the highest caliber it can be so that you feel, good about what you've done and what you're trying to accomplish. So whether I can be there or not, I try to be at a lot of the big ones and try to serve as good as we can. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, I try to make sure that everybody knows. I want them to feel like they've gotten a good experience, because we can't win them all. But if they went to the show and they felt like their calf looked awesome and the service was good, where they placed is one guy's opinion. But as long as they had a good experience, it's
As
the
long
whole
as they don't feel like the way the calf is fit is why they got beat.
right. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm big on the whole team atmosphere and join the team, and that's what it's about. It's about, honestly, you've only got so many years to show when you're a junior, so it's about making those memories with those people and just enjoying yourself too at the same time. So
You bet. Well, hey, we're going to dive into a few of these state fairs. The first one we're going to talk about, and one that you have had a very strong stranglehold on here in recent years, is the Wisconsin State Fair up there.
yes, and that is largely in part to our customers and families. There's been a multitude of them, but the Runkle family for sure has been a dominant force in that steer ring in that state. And there's a long list of people that also get mentioned there as far as some of the others that I've sold some of those cattle with over the years. Blaine Rogers would be one here in the last couple of years that we've had a couple with that family, and he's been a very, critical part of that whole success story too. So I'm not going to sit here and try to tell everybody that the reason that they're winning is just because of me, because it goes a lot to everybody else too. But I believe, if my math is correct, it's been 4 of the last 5 years they've had the champion steer at the Wisconsin State Fair. So it's fairly legendary stuff.
That's impressive. That is really impressive. The second one here is the one down there on the Greenwood Chips at Kentucky.
Yeah, that was the Kentucky State Fair. And just going back to that other one too, real quick, that that heifer that was on the bottom of that picture was the 5th overall breeding heifer at Wisconsin this year too. And that was actually a new customer. That was the first year they've purchased a calf from me. So that was pretty good return on their investment. So if you're a family that wants to work hard, I can usually give you the vehicle to try to drive to the backdrop if everybody wants to work hard and listen and try to do the right stuff. I can't guarantee it, but we sure try hard. So that was kind of a cool success story too, because new customer and we got a piece of the show. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. All righty, then that one down there in the Greenwood Chips in Kentucky down there, you win the steer show, and what's the one on the bottom, Raymond?
We were reserve steer and reserve
steer.
Yep, and reserve heifer. So that was quite the day, because see, the way that they do that is they show the steers one day, and then the next day is the heifer show, and then that evening is the grand drive of the steer show. So we'd actually won the crossbred division the day before. So then that day of the grand drive, it was a big day because we had heifers showing all day and then had to get ready for that grand drive. So it was an emotional roller coaster to get a piece of the heifer show and then still have to, your adrenaline's pumping, and then you're like, man, I got to dig deep and find some more here because we got to dress this steer and try to get a piece of the steer show now if we can too. So you kind of, what it's like when you're at a show at that level, and you're all day long getting cattle ready, and then you get that big anticipation of the grand drive and you get a piece of it, and then you're like, man, I got to do this all over again. So it was a long day, but it was well worth it. Both families, incredible families. They work hard at it. The steer family was the Arnett's, and they've actually won that state fair with me once. And this one was reserved this year. And so that girl actually had a major injury this spring and had to have like big time surgery on her leg and foot. And so the fact that she was even able to show was actually a feat. She had to stay pretty rested. She was in a wheelchair and everything not that long ago. So that was a really cool success story for that one. And the heifer, she was actually the 4th overall limb flex at the Junior National Limousine Show in the summer as well. So to stay on that same path and still have success at State Fair and be fresh and whatnot, that family did a really nice job with that female too there.
Absolutely. Then we're gonna go out west at some of the later state fairs. Champion at the Wyoming State Fair and champion at Colorado. Is that correct?
Yep, and those 2 were fairly close in proximity as far as show date. Like, I think they were only 2, 3 days apart, so, the Wyoming steer, again, that's a family that actually Brad Linton works with, and, he's the one that kinda got that calf placed with them, and that's the first time I've had one in their barn, and they won the state fair. I mean, same deal. It just was kind of a miracle story. They worked their tail off, and they had a good calf, and actually that calf was raised by the Runkle family from Wisconsin, so it's kind of a cool story. They won the Wisconsin State Fair and then raised one that won Wyoming, so
Yeah, that's
that was
wild.
pretty cool. And then, like I said, just a couple days later, we had Colorado, and this is quite the story on this calf, I got to tell you. So last fall, Brad Linton and I, we traveled around South Dakota together through all those pasture sales, and we'd found a bunch of them that we marked at everybody's places that we go to. The one that won Colorado actually come out of Ryman's pasture sale. And to be honest with you, we marked him. We were in and out of there fairly quick. You know what it's like. You're trying to get everywhere. It come down to sale night, and I was trying to remember that calf because I bid on him in the morning. I bid on everything that I bid on my sheet. I just put bids in on it because it was a live sale. And it got down to the sale time, and I still had the bid on that calf when extended bidding was going. Nobody had hit him. And I was like, and did I miss something on that calf? Or is there a reason he's not getting any bids? And so I called Brad and I'm like, what do you think? Did we miss something? He's like, well, I don't know. You starred him on the sheet. He's got to be worth buying. We end up getting that calf out of the sale for $22.50. And I got him home to my place. And actually, he was only weaned just a couple of days. And Bob May had come through and saw him and liked him. And I priced the calf, and he bought him. And I didn't even know where he went. It was about 2 weeks before Wisconsin State Fair when Brock had actually told me, "Hey, that calf we bought from you is out in Colorado and looks really good. You know, I think he could be really tough." And so I had no idea where he'd ended up, and that was another really great home that took really good care of a very nice calf that was just kind of skinny, and I mean he was kind of wild at the start too, you know,
Is
and
that was that the reason? Just was a little behind condition.
he
Was
was a
his hair
little, he was a
good?
little green. His hair was good. He was just a little green, and he was
Just
kind of
really.
wild.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. That cow that he's out of hadn't had one in the pasture sale before that I knew of, but the grandmother was a very famous donor cow of Ryman's that I'd actually bought some
Yeah.
monopolies out of before that had gone along real good. Grady's bought one year from us that was good, and they'd done that cow to Here I Am, and they were nice, but they were sometimes too much. They were almost too stout. And
Sure.
this one's mother, he's a Here I Am, but this one's mother was a style out of that cow. And I just thought, well, one shot of Angus, maybe that'll kind of tone it down just enough. And sure enough, he showed up there and he looked the part. And you guys had actually interviewed Kevin Jensen about sorting that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. I
I
was just going to say that. Kevin said, yeah, that was one of the best fat steers he said he ever used to judge a state or to use at a state fair. And actually, I was talking to Brock there at South Dakota State Fair, and Brock said that Bobby said that was one of his favorites of all time to get ready at a state fair.
When Brock had clipped him before the state fair, he called me and said, "That's the best fat steer I've personally ever clipped." And I'm like, "Oh boy, I guess he must be pretty good." So I actually didn't get to go to the show. That show was right after Kentucky State Fair, and I had just gotten home from that, and I was just like, "Man, I got to stay home. I got too much stuff going on." And it's not like I could dress him there anyways. It's family and juniors only. So I guess I probably should have been there, but maybe I'd have jinxed it. So it worked out good. And like I said, another family that really worked hard on just a really nice calf and put the effort in, and it paid off. So it was really cool to see that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we got a few pictures of a few that you've got in here the last few weeks, Raymond. A few of these heifers. Tell us a little bit about these four.
So the two females on the top of the screen, they're actually both Limflex heifers, and they're both sisters, just out of different sires. The one on the left is a Primo, and the one on the right is a Express, Colony Express. And they are out of Shelby Skinner's got a donor cow called Barbara that actually the Walker family had showed and had a lot of success with. And so those are both embryo ET deals out of her that we've got in here from Shelby, and they're very, very nice. These pictures were all taken a couple weeks ago too. They've actually changed quite a bit from these pictures, but I only had a photographer once in a while. Sterling does such a good job picturing that she's actually clear across the country doing everybody else's stuff instead of mine. So if you need a photographer, Sterling's great, but I would also like to use her once in a while as well. So
Yeah.
the two heifers on the bottom, the one on the bottom left is actually a We Need More, which is a bull we own with Adam Pryor and sell semen on. And her mother's kind of an intriguing pedigree. She's a maternal maid back out of that Riverstone Charmed female that the Ratliff family had done all the winning with and won Louisville.
Wow.
So she's actually a maintainer and a low percent key. And unfortunately, I actually sold her here yesterday. So she's on the slide, but she's no longer available. The bottom right is a purebred Simmental that we've got in. And actually, I just posted her for sale today, and we've got a lot of interest in her. But she's a broker back out of a 2020 built right black jade cow. Pat Weezy actually raised that one, a good friend of mine. So she's really, really nice.
You bet. Absolutely.
And we've got a variety of stuff here too. I mean, there's maintainers, keys, there's other Simmentals, there's a Shorehorn Plus I just got it. It's a revolving door around here. There's heifers and steers coming in and out here every week. And I tell everybody, if we don't have it, we'll go find it. So that gives a little bit of a background of just a few of the ones I've got here. But yeah, there's a pen full of them out there that if I don't, like I said, if I don't have it, we can go find it. So.
You bet. And then you got you pictured 4 steers there last week. Got a little variety here in these deals.
Yeah. So the top left is actually he's a Here I Am out of a loaded up Miley. And Miley would be like the mother of I-80. That cow is a donor cow that Goat owns with the Dixon family. I actually got that calf from Ben Dixon in Ohio. State fair size, big, burly. I mean, that's one of my better ones I've had in all fall as far as a state fair size one. I'm pretty high on that calf. I see a lot of future in that one, potentially hanging a banner at a state fair, I think. The one on the top right's actually a market heifer deal. She's also a We Need More bull we sell semen on. And she was raised by the Hansa family in Oklahoma. She's actually out of the cow's a Fu Manchu that they actually showed, and she won the keys at OIE when they showed her as a big heifer. So she's backed by a pretty nice cow as well. The bottom left is In God We Trust steer that I actually got out of Minnesota. And unfortunately, we actually just sold him yesterday too. So like I said, it's a revolving door. They're in and out fast. So the bottom right steer is actually kind of an intriguing creature. He's the little bit of the backstory on this calf is I actually own this calf's mother with a family in Ohio that I used to sell cattle to. Kind of a little bit of a sad story. They lost their son in a tragic farm accident when he was 18. And we bought this cow together as a show heifer to kind of show her in his memory. And so I stayed hooked into her, and we actually flushed her to Chosen One. And that's what this calf is out of. And I put all my embryos in a place out west at Linton's, actually, Brad Linton's out west there. And so he raised that calf, and he's at my house now. That photo was actually taken at Brad's a couple weeks ago when we were out there photoing for his sale. But that one is like Denver, Fort Worth sized. And I've driven a lot of miles this fall, and this might sound maybe a little bit arrogant, but I have not seen one that got me more fired up for a Denver Fort Worth size one than that one right now. I mean, he's a freak of nature. That calf's presence is incredible. His structure's immaculate. He's got everything a guy wants in a show calf as far as when you walk in the pen and just like, what is that? That's the first thing anybody says when they see that calf is, what is that thing? He's quite a unit. And actually, I think you guys have got a video of him as well that we can play. This was taken, like I said, a couple weeks ago. So he's changed quite a bit because we're in the cooler weather now, but that calf walks around just like that the whole time. I mean, his head is on a swivel, and he walks around like he owns the place. So he's a very intriguing animal.
He's got the heavy duty structure, and boy, them got that high ear set, don't he?
Yeah. Nope. I got pretty high hopes for that one. So, so if you're wanting to try to make a play at Denver or Fort Worth, come see me.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, congratulations on all your success this year, Raymond. Hell, you didn't even mention coming up and whipping us at the Heifer Show at South Dakota State Fair Open Show. Podzimic family had Supreme Female up here with.
Yeah, they did.
She was the daughter of We Need More, wasn't she?
Yes, she was a We Need More as well. Yep. No,
Yep.
we did. That was really fun. That was her kind of last hurrah as a
Last
show
year, yeah.
out. So that was kind of cool to go out with a bang.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if you're in need or searching for that show steer or show heifer this fall, be sure to look up Competitive Edge Genetics there in Lawrence, Kansas. Just are you? Where is Lawrence from Kansas City? If you're going to the Royal,
It's pretty much 30 minutes west of Kansas City. I'm like 45 minutes from the American Royal Fairgrounds. And that's, I mean, we've got the steer show moving in here this week. And then the junior heifers are actually currently going on, part of them going on right now through next week. So if you guys are at the American Royal and want to look at some livestock, we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's actually not that bad of a drive to drive out here and look at some stuff. And we sure welcome anybody that wants to come view the livestock and visit with us. And if you've got a plan as to what you want, and like I said, we'll accommodate anybody. So we sure welcome anybody to come check it out.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Raymond, and good luck trying to beat that this fall in 2023.
Yeah, it's going to be going to be tough to beat this summer, but we're going to try.
Yeah, give them hell. All right, take care.